Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 105 of Two Left Thumbs, your weekly source of gaming news, details, deals, and discourse. My name is Puppiez, and joining me this week is someone I've been trying to get on the cast for a very long time. Finally excited to have her here. This woman has more achievements and accolades than I do of things I've disappointed my parents with. You know her as Missdeusgeek. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I really appreciate that introduction, but I must say a lot of my accolades are probably disappointed my parents with those too.
Well, you know, you can't win them all, right?
You can't. No, you can't.
So how are you? How are you? What's been going on? You've had an interesting 6 months at least. I've been following you for a bit.
Oh goodness. It has been interesting. It's been nonstop. Obviously, I have mentioned to you earlier, I am currently in the process of releasing two major blockbuster films in Australia and New Zealand cinemas. I've got a massive clearance sale and a couple of home video titles to get out all in one go. So that is just 40 hours of my work week.
Oh god!
On top of that, I've got.
Yeah.
On top of that, there's the gaming and keeping up the momentum of all of that fun stuff. So yeah, it's crazy right now.
I can imagine you're a very busy person. Which is why it's been hard, because I think the first time when I wanted to get you on was when we started looking at guests it was just under a year ago now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just moved from. You were just in the process of moving from New Zealand to Australia, and then everything else happened, and COVID happened, and the mixer shut down. And it's been a ride.
It's kind of funny that everything that could possibly happen in 2020 happened in 2020.
Right. I don't know when it was going to. There was like you didn't know when it was going to stop or what it was going to limit itself to. It was insane.
Yeah, no, there was no way to predict any of the things that have happened, both good and bad.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So for the people that are listening, we haven't actually done this properly yet. Who are you exactly, and what do you do in and around the internets and the gaming space?
So my name obviously is Missdeusgeek. I run a brand called Attack on Geek, which I started about 5 years ago. It's more of a, outside of work hobby. It was never actually meant to be bigger than what it is today. Funnily enough, it was just meant to be a hobby blog. But it kind of took off, and so now I pretty much just cover all things gaming. I work quite closely with the younger generation, so like kids and parents. I used to teach at a technology lounge, teaching kids how to kind of collaborate and play games online properly, teaching them how to be safe. And a lot of my content when it comes to games is really directed towards beginners, people trying to get into games, people who are, not really into that high-flown language that a lot of reviewers tend to use, I guess, in their gaming reviews. I'm an average Joe. I play games badly. I suck at video games. I'm not ashamed to admit that at all.
I'm very much with you on that boat. I'm not being skilled is my skill. It's
yeah, pretty much. And hey, you know what? It works.
Exactly right.
So yeah, I just love what I do, and I love the gaming industry so much, whether I'm good at it or not. It's just such a fun environment, and the people are amazing. So, making content in this space is something that I truly love, and I do that outside of my full-time job, which I know it seems busy, but when I get to do something I'm really passionate about, I just do it because I love it, and I don't feel it until maybe a couple of months down the line.
Like, where's all my time? I need a holiday. I don't want to stop.
Yeah, around Christmas time, I'm usually like, okay, I've not stopped I'm not stopped for a whole year. I think I need a break.
Yeah, time for a break now. I'm just gonna chill out for a week, and then you get to that point. It's like, you know what, I need to do something, and then you pick up a whole new hobby, and the whole cycle begins again.
It does. Or like some brand will come out with something new, and you're like, oh no, here we go.
Oh boy.
And then you're like, I'm not gonna post, I'm not gonna write about it, I'm not gonna do anything, but it sucks you in and you just love it so much that it's just like, oh god, I'm sucked in now. What do I do?
He's hopelessly lost in a cycle of content production. It's brilliant.
Pretty much.
What we need for all those developers and tech companies out there who I know are definitely 100% listening to me ramble on the internet about fucking video games, just give the lass a break. Just take a month off and just let her chill.
A year off, it's all good,
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah.
I have a backlog that I need to get through.
Nice. Speaking of backlogs, what have you been playing lately? What's
oh god,
time?
The last thing I played, let's see. The last thing I played was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I still haven't finished, which
me neither. It's so many hours there.
It is. It really is. And I love it so much. So it's like, you know what? I don't want to play anything new until I finished it. But then everything is coming out. And you're like, oh God, Cyberpunk's out. I haven't touched that game yet. And I feel bad because I haven't touched that game yet, which means I can't make content. So it's kind of like that endless cycle of every time a new game comes out, you really enjoy it. You want to finish it, but then something else comes out and you're like, okay, I should try it. And then you get sucked in, and it's that constant. The battle to finish games.
Yes, I'm currently stuck between Cyberpunk, Valhalla, and Doom.
And Doom.
Yeah,
nice.
I've been meaning to play Doom forever, and then Valhalla came out, and then Cyberpunk came out. It was very much the same thing. I would say, you know what, I need a break from the open world games and the exploration, and I just need to shoot stuff. So it's on Game Pass, which is fantastic. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to download it. I'm going to play it. It's going to be, and I'm about 6 hours in now, and I love it. It's so good. I love the Doom 2016 as well. I've always been a bit of a Doom fan, and it built on that, and it's been really, really nice to just kind of embrace the chaos of that game and just blow stuff up. It's been great.
And that's the thing that's really amazing, isn't it, with gaming, is that you can just find a game, especially with Game Pass, where almost every game that you can think of is now on there. And you just sink hours and hours into it, not thinking, because you're just going around shooting monsters and killing stuff.
Exactly. My wife turned on Game Pass and realized she'd been waiting for Roller Coaster Tycoon to come out.
Okay.
And like she's been wanting to play it for years, and it's just I need to go buy it because I knew it was coming to Xbox, and they just rocked up on Game Pass. And she's like, oh, brilliant! I'll start playing that today. It's like, yeah, sweet. It doesn't stop with Game Pass. It's insane.
No, it doesn't.
The amount of stuff they have on there and coming, like especially with the newer titles, is just it's so much.
Oh man,
like, you don't need to buy games. It's just there's a whole backlog there just staring at you.
Well, it's not just backlog as well. I mean, Bethesda is now part of Xbox Game Studios, which means Xbox Game Pass is going to get all of Bethesda's titles. EA titles are now on there. Who knows if Ubisoft's going to be on there? So it's just like, do you ever need to buy new games again?
I know, right? Especially with Bethesda's new Indiana Jones movie they announced the other week.
Yes. Oh my god!
I really hope that's going to be good. Yeah, what are you hoping for with that?
Honestly, the game that really got me into gaming was Uncharted 2. And growing up, I loved Tomb Raider. So those two combined, if the Indiana Jones game has elements from those two games or franchises, you can count on me potentially taking like a month off work just to sink my entire devotion into that game. I love like things like that, treasure hunting, archaeology, history. And then couple that with the whole like, oh, look, I've got a whip and I can do things with it.
Oh my god, the whip mechanics should be a lot of fun. I'm really hoping they bring it to the combat, because I know with Lara Croft and Uncharted, it was just, here's the thing you can swing with. I want to be able to grab right around the ankle and pull them over as a stealth takedown. I think that would be brilliant.
I just want to just whip things, just go. and just hit something. And then, like, I mean,
coming up hills.
it's just sitting here thinking, oh, Missdeusgeek likes the whip, huh?
Yeah, right. Oh, getting saucy, and we are only 10 minutes in, ladies and gentlemen. This is almost a new record for us, I think.
Oh. I mean, this is the kind of content that you're going to get from me, okay? I'm not ashamed of anything.
Good, excellent. That's what we like to hear. I love people being themselves and not holding anything back. It's the best way to be, I think.
It really is, and I think that's what gaming is all about. It brings out like everything, good, bad. It just lets you be yourself, and that's the most amazing thing about games. And the people within the games industry, within the games community, everyone's just themselves, which is amazing, and it's great to make new friends that way.
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely met like a whole slew of new people through video games alone, which has been awesome. Because they're pretty well all the friends I have now, because all my IRL friends all grew up and stopped playing video games. I'm like, well, you're boring. I need to go find more fun people.
Oh, I mean, there's also the pandemic, so you're kind of stuck at home.
Yeah, there's that as well. I'm gonna blame it on the pandemic. That's totally the reason. 100%.
Just roll with it. Just use that.
Exactly. Why not? Right? It's there. It's there for the taking. We'll use it. You mentioned earlier your first kind of gaming experiences were like things like Uncharted 2. I want to know a little bit more about younger you and how gaming started for you, because you are such a presence, especially in the ANZ community of games, especially around a lot of the stuff with Xbox, but just games in general as well. How did it all start for you? Where was that spark? Give me like the younger years.
Oh, gosh, it kind of came in waves. Like it comes and goes throughout my childhood, kind of thing. Because I started playing games with my uncles, because I grew up in Malaysia, where you kind of have your parents working full time and they come home late and they don't really have time for you. So a lot of my weekends and Friday nights were spent with my uncles, who at the time were at uni, or they were, kind of working part-time. And they had bought a Sega Mega Drive and were just playing through Mortal Kombat 3. And I remember I must have been like 3 or 4 when they were playing that. So like my earliest memories of gaming is just watching them beat each other up as Mortal Kombat characters. And just sitting there being fascinated by Sub-Zero because he could shoot ice out of his hands. And I kind of just, button mashed my way through. They didn't do the thing where they unplugged the controller. They actually let me play.
Oh, wow. They were nice people. I like
They were,
people.
yeah.
I was one of those terrible older brothers. Like, here's the controller. And I'm playing a single player game. Like, here's the controller. Just pretend you're playing.
No, they were quite good. They let me actually play. And so I tried, I guess, to beat them and fight my way through. And I fell in love with Mortal Kombat. I don't know what it is about that game, but I fell in love with it. And after a while, in Malaysia, as a kid, you start doing exams, and it's serious exams. It's not just, just for fun or anything like that.
Right.
So I kind of backed away from gaming, and then I stepped back in when PC gaming started becoming a thing. So, like Windows 95, 98, when I was allowed to touch a computer, because back then computers were like super precious and only adults could use them.
Yeah, I remember those days. I think the first computer I used was I can't remember. I think it was I think the brand was Commander for memory.
Commander.
It was Commander PC. I think I was like 5, so my memory's a bit foggy on it. But I remember having it was just like the green and black screen.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm old.
You're not that old. Surely not.
No, slightly.
Okay, interesting.
And I used to play a game called Moonbuggy. It's the only game I had for ages. And it was just a side-scrolling thing where it was AWSD. It had 25 levels, and you just have to jump over potholes. And that was it. That was the game. So I played that game for hours. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. What did I play on PC? I think my earliest game was watching my uncle play Doom, like, classic Doom.
Yeah,
And
nice.
I can't remember when I started playing it, but I just like all I remember from back then was I really loved Doom Guy, in the middle of the screen with his eyebrows, this kind of like moving up and down and looking. And I was just like, who is this guy? What's he doing? I think after I kind of got introduced to, a keyboard and a mouse and what you could do with it, I started playing, it must have been Doom. Just barely. Like, I don't think I ever got very far. I just killed like 1 or 2 monsters and that's about it.
Yeah.
And then I moved into Quake, where I started actually learning how to, move a lot more through levels and things like that. And then came the best game of my childhood, which was House of the Dead 1, which I don't know if what I played was real or not, because I come from Asia and a lot of games are knockoffs.
Yeah, right.
But so I played House of the Dead, which used to be an arcade game, I believe. I think it was like one of those cabinet games with the guns.
Like the stand and shoot style kind of.
Yeah. So I played it on a PC, so I absolutely loved that game. I played it God knows how many times, and I finished the story and would go back and play it all over again. Just the same thing over and over again. And back then, games didn't have different endings or anything like that. Like, you knew what was going to happen.
It was just everything was there, and it didn't matter. And you played it over and over and over again.
It was just so good.
It was just so cool. It was so good. Yeah, exactly. And like games were, for the most part, really well made. Like, because they were kind of like hardware was limiting, but what people were doing with the technology was so new and so fresh. Like, you look at games now, like you do like your OG Doom versus like your Doom 2016. They look like totally different games, but they're still kind of the same. They're still that first person shooter base. And it really shows you how much technology and games have evolved from there. And it was rather rapidly too. Like, the rise of games is like been quite fast.
And I think that's the thing. You see, back then there weren't a lot of games, and not everyone had a computer or had a Game Boy or had a Sega Mega Drive, as my uncles did, or whatever other console. I don't know. I mean, I was born in the 90s, so I don't really know what was there prior to that. But you don't have a whole lot of games growing up. You kind of dabbled in like 1 or 2, and then you kind of moved on. But now all you have is just, you're inundated with just games. There's just so much to choose from.
Yeah, definitely. The gaming industry as a whole is like, it's really weird. I've spoken about this a couple of times, how large the gaming industry itself is, but it's still kind of this weird. It's got this weird underground vibe with the rest of the modern world, where it's like with like movies and music. Even though we're like up there, especially with earnings and all that kind of stuff, like we're going toe to toe with both these industries, but it's like no one plays games. It's like it's changing. It has been changing over probably the last 3 or 4 years, especially where gaming's become more mainstream and more noticed by the rest of the world. But it's still got this kind of weird, cool underground presence, which is kind of nice. It's like the hipster.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, going back to my kind of journey with games, after maybe I was about 10, 12-ish, I didn't play games till the PS3 came out. And so, you kind of go through that whole, like you said, it's an underground. Not many people play games, so you shouldn't play games. Plus, I was a girl, and they were like, girls don't play games, and this and that. And so you kind of just move away, but there's still that like, oh, but if there is a game that I really want to play, I might just kind of hide and go and play it. So during my teenage years and things, I didn't really play any games. I kind of didn't touch a single game, to be honest, I don't think, throughout my high school years. And then I met my partner, Tom, currently, who I have been with for a while now. He was so into games. Like, if you think about your typical gamer who is who desires becoming the next big, like, ninja or whatever, he was that guy when I met him. And so he would play games all the time. He was streaming for Microsoft at the time as well. So all our dates would always have to work around that. And it used to frustrate me so much.
Oh, I can imagine.
Like, and I had left, like I wasn't playing games at that time. So for me, it was like, how dare you? How dare you play games and, make me wait and move around you? And so I remember this one time that we had organized to go out, and he had decided to accept an invitation to do a Destiny raid.
Oh no.
And you know how long that goes on for. So I sat there and I just watched him play, and I was like, I guess I'm not going out tonight. And I think it was at that point that I was like, oh, you know what? Actually, I do remember enjoying playing games. I now see the benefits of playing games online, because up until that point, I had never played online. I was playing by myself, single player games only, didn't really, explore the online multiplayer space. And just the engagement that he was getting when he was streaming for Xbox and Microsoft was so amazing, because he got to meet people from all over the world. And for me, as a people person and as someone who really loves making new friends, it just clicked. Something just clicked in me again, like back when, I was playing Mortal Kombat and I just really enjoyed it. Again, that feeling came in and I was like, you know what? I've been writing reviews for movies and TV shows and comic books because I'm a huge nerd. It only makes sense to kind of get back into gaming. And also this means I can spend time with my partner and not want to, blow my brains out, because I get to do something that he enjoys that I enjoy as well.
It's a win-win for everyone. I like it. Yeah,
exactly. Nice. And thus Attack on Geek was born.
There you go. From humble beginnings, from a hobby to something that has been a fairly big mainstay throughout the ANZ region, which is incredible, by the way.
Thank you. Well, I mean, welcome. at the end of the day, I have to give credit to my partner, because if not for him playing those Destiny raids, who knows where I'd be today.
Tom and Destiny. We need to know, actually, which raid was it?
I don't know, actually. I have no idea. It was definitely Destiny 1.
Destiny 1. All right, so that makes it Vault of Glass, Crota.
I have no idea. All I remember is him saying he absolutely hated Destiny 1. So it must have been something that, I don't know, is there a raid that gives you a bad experience or something? I'm not sure.
No, raids with Destiny. It's not so much the experience of the raid; it's the experience of the people that generally That's where it can get frustrating, because if someone stuffs up and you all have to start again, it's this uniquely wonderful thing where you're like having a great time, but you were frustrated as hell because I just want to get through this. I want to go to bed. It's 4 a.m. I have to work in 3 hours.
Yeah, no, maybe that was it.
Yeah.
and then I guess the frustration of like me sitting there behind it being like, hurry up.
Oh my god, Tom, just hurry up. I want to go out and have fun.
I was probably too tired. I would have said, like, you know what, I'm going to go home. And he's like, but we haven't even done anything yet.
Yeah, just 5 more minutes. The classic one, the one more round. One more go, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, good times, good memories.
Indeed. So I touched on your achievements and accolades earlier. I wanted to talk a little about them, just a little bit, because they are really fucking impressive, by the way. You've got here
okay?
for me, right? Humble gamer dude that never leaves his basement. Not entirely. I get outside sometimes. It hurts. So you've got MCV specific 30 under 30 for 2017 and 2018. Trade Media's top 50 women in games, which is 2018. Top 50 gender equality in games list for 2019. Xbox Ambassador of the Month for 2019. Xbox MVP for 2019-2020, and Xbox Hall of Fame for 2020, and an Xbox Ambassadors Community Champion for 2020. How did these happen for you? Were these something you were directly kind of pursuing, or did they just kind of fall in your lap as you were going through and doing the work that you were doing?
I think I'm going to have to answer this question with another question though, and
Okay.
ask you, did you get my copy of my CV or something?
I did. I researched. Part of this job is I get to stalk the people I interview for a little bit.
Oh
So,
my god! I just
go-
I was fully expecting you to just be like, oh, read my Twitter bio or something, but you must have gone to like the website where I've just listed everything.
I did.
Um,
Because you've done a lot, and it's hard to kind of like, and I have a terrible memory, and I need to write things down, otherwise I forget things. Like, I've been doing this podcast for almost 100 episodes, right? Like, I started,
which is a feat in itself.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
It's endurance, and I still have to read the intro. That's how bad my memory is. It's terrible.
Some people have the voice for podcasts. Some people have the memory. I mean, everyone has their strengths.
Exactly, and that's why I have a run sheet, because it helps me immensely.
Oh, believe me, run sheets are like the most amazing and most important thing that you need to have in your life.
Oh yes, definitely. It comes from me, especially being a chef. Just having like when we have functions or whatever, or special events, we'd have a run sheet of how the day was going, what was happening, all the details. And I mean, run sheets have always been a thing throughout like television and broadcasting, all that kind of stuff as well. But that's where I kind of picked it up, and I've become to rely on them quite heavily. But yeah.
Oh, definitely a good skill to add to your repertoire, I guess.
You know what? I'm just gonna put that on the resume now. There we go. Good at run sheets. It's on there. We're set.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Oh, believe me, it's so important. Like with my day job, you need to have something like that just to keep on track.
Yeah, well,
it's so important.
Things you had going on recently,
Oh god.
Did you just have like one of those like pin walls, like you see in like the crime movies, where they just have like?
I wish I did.
Yeah, maybe you need to get one. You should talk to your boss, see if you can get one installed. And just like, I need a board, a giant board the size of a wall that I can pin things to.
Well, maybe I should, because honestly, the amount of work I'm doing at the moment is like 5 people's jobs, and I need to show. I need to show my manager, like, look at this. You've walked into a crime scene when you walk into my apartment.
Don't even get me started on what's going on in the basement.
Oh God. I do want to know though.
I mean, well, we mentioned whips before. I think that might be leading somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. How did these things happen, or how did you make them happen? Because I am sure and certain this is not all just dumb luck. At all.
I definitely wouldn't say it's luck.
No.
Nothing I've done, as much as, I would like to say it's luck. I wish it was luck, because a lot of it involved a lot of tears, I have to admit. Working a full-time job outside of a full-time job is hard. It's really draining. And I think a lot of it was more just passion initially, followed by drive to kind of achieve something that I didn't think I could achieve. Right. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, I'm from Malaysia. I'm a minority group. I'm Sri Lankan. So I'm a minority group within a minority group, really. And then kind of doing all this in New Zealand, where gaming isn't that big, or it wasn't anyway when I started. So I kind of felt like, what, I just want to see what I can achieve with hard work, putting my passion to use, really doing something I loved doing and seeing what comes from it. And turns out that, actually putting a lot of effort into things and doing it well does reap rewards.
Right, a lot of putting in effort.
No, but that's the thing, because a lot of people these days seem to think that it's who it's the connections you have, which, yes, in part a lot of your achievements in life can be associated with who but at the end of the day, the core basics of it is put in your hard work. If you want something, work for it. you have to make
Exactly.
sacrifices, you know. I mean, I barely went out when I first started, about what, 2016ish. I
Yeah.
barely went out. My partner was into gaming, so it's not like, you know, he was going to go anywhere else. Like if I was gaming, he was going to game with me. So I didn't have to worry about that sort of thing. We just game together. And then Attack on Geek was always something that I wanted a group of people to kind of do together. I wanted a group of friends to kind of come together and do it. But because I wasn't going out and I wasn't really hanging out with friends, to me it was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll just do it's a couples thing. And that gave me time to also be with Tom and kind of, you know, continue our
Kind of
relationship that
a
way.
project you guys could work on together as part
Yeah.
of time spent. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, you know, between us, we spent every waking moment outside of work just creating content, refining, and just hustling so hard. Like, I can't tell you how much I hustled in the early days. Even now, I mean,
I mean,
even with
you've done a lot of hustling recently too, because I remember when we were speaking earlier in the year, just after the mixer shutdown, I think it was.
yeah, so
Maybe,
that was in
yeah.
what, June?
That was in
June-ish?
June, and like, I know that hit you hard. Like that hit you pretty
Mm.
hard because you were fairly invested on that platform as such. You'd made a lot of good friends there and a lot of great connections.
Mm.
And the prospect of having to start over again, especially after building a brand for so long, must have been a
Yeah.
terrifying concept to kind of get your head around.
It was, I think it couldn't have happened in a worse year as well. Had it happened maybe outside of, you know, 2020, maybe it was something that could have been a lot easier to handle. But I think given everything that was happening, I mean, we're in Melbourne. We had the longest lockdown in history. And, you know, it's so hard to have that one place that you kind of called home get taken away from you.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yes.
So
Because
yeah, it
you'd
was.
only just moved to Melbourne before that happened,
Mm,
didn't you? Like, so you'd only been there a couple of
yeah.
months, and then you were like straight into lockdown. I can imagine that would have taken
Oh
quite a large
yeah.
toll as well. Because like I know you know quite a few people in and around the area that you were kind of keen to catch up with, and then having that kind of shoved to the side. So no, you're in this new city and you don't know where to like. You don't really know like haven't really met a lot of people. But you know people from online that you want to meet up with, and then just having that kind of removed from you entirely, and then the platform where you did a lot of that socializing kind of removed as well.
Yeah, it was kind of like a double hit, you know?
Yeah, the old 1-2 punch.
It's like, you know, hey, so we're gonna just take your social life completely out of you, and you're just stuck here in this four corners of a room, mm, doing nothing.
Yeah, so here you go.
Uh,
Here's some dust balls and a coin. Have fun. Well, we'll be back in a week. We're also going to leave the lights off, by the way.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, it felt like that at the time, which is why I think maybe I took it a lot harder than a lot of other people, or maybe those of us in Melbourne took it a lot harder because the thing that I noticed is a lot of the Mixer partners, who obviously were displaced by Mixer shutting down, a lot
Yeah.
of them got picked up by Twitch automatically, whereas there were some of us who didn't get picked up automatically, and so therefore it was a situation where it's like, well, what do you do now? Do you have to start from the bottom again? And
Mm.
at that point in time, I had been streaming as Attack on Geek with Tom for so long. I felt like, well, I don't feel right using Attack on Geek as my streaming name anymore because that was what I did on Mixer. But
Right.
now,
Yep.
who am I? You know, am I Attack on Geek? Am I Missdeusgeek? Am I just not a gamer? There was so many questions going through my head that month. And, you know, on top of that, obviously, you know, work was busy, life was busy. It's just a really, really interesting time in retrospect.
Yes.
So
Definitely.
yeah.
So after that, where did you land? Because I know you do some stuff mostly on Facebook now. Is that right?
So yeah, so one of the things I work in PR and marketing, so I think my marketing brain kind of kicked in, and I
Right.
realized, you know what? I'm gonna do myself a solid and diversify a little bit, give
Yeah.
myself a bit more room to kind of play with things and see how it goes. So I ended up taking the offer of partnership with Facebook Gaming, which was something they offered Mixer partners who were willing to move to Facebook.
Yeah, I
And I
remember
took that,
quite a few people took
yeah.
that. Yeah.
I mean, it was at the time, it felt like, hey, why not? It's You got nothing to lose. Your platform that you were growing on has just kind of disappeared. So why not? You're going to start from the bottom anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what I did was, as Attack on Geek, I signed as a Facebook gaming partner, and therefore Tom and I could stream on Facebook as partners and, kind of earn some pocket money. Not that we earned a whole lot, to be very honest,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah,
already had.
streaming isn't quite known for its lucrativeness in
Oh,
the like in the trenches. Like there are people that can support themselves, but for the most
yes and
part,
no.
like, yeah, it's a tricky one, especially with like the
It
financial
is.
side of things, because it can be so in flux all the time.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I've been in this game now for like what, coming up to 6 years now, and I still wouldn't recommend anyone attempt to go full time without having a good, solid financial strategy.
Yeah.
It's just a minefield.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people miss. Is where I mean it's doable, but it's not guaranteed. Like you could put in all the work, and you could get kind of somewhere, but then you've got to try and maintain that and keep that momentum going, because once you lose momentum, you lose it very, very quickly.
Yeah, no, it's not like a full-time job where you get 2 weeks annual leave, you get time off if you're sick. With streaming, if you take a day off, that's it.
Exactly. Day off, you're not earning anything, and you kind of you're done. And I think that it creates issues in itself, where people are burning out, they get exhausted, and they just don't want to do it anymore. And then there comes that loop of well, they don't do it, so they lose that momentum, and then they try and get it back, but they're too tired from trying to get that momentum back. It just becomes this really vicious cycle.
Yeah. And I think the most important thing is that you forget why you're doing it in the first place. You
Yeah.
lose your passion, and that's the most crucial part that you don't want to lose.
Yeah, no, definitely. It can get real hard when you just can't you get down to like to stream or whatever. You're just like, I can't, I don't have the energy, I don't want to, but at the same time you want to, and it feels, you're very conflicted about the whole thing, and you're just like, and that makes it worse, because you're like, I'm conflicted, but now I feel bad, so then you say, no, I'm just gonna take a night off because I'm in a bad mood, and it just keeps going. It's
It
terrible.
really does. It really does, which is why, I knew from day one I was never going to do this full time. I was never going to give up my full-time job to do this, because as much as I love it, as much as I do it full time, it's just not worth that pain and that effect on my mental health, trying to worry about whether can I pay my bills, can I eat tomorrow. At least this way, by working a full-time job, I know I've got stability in terms of income, and then I can do what I love whenever I want.
And yeah, it won't affect anything, as long as you're not. You get your work done. You come home. You can do whatever you want, and it's good. It's good that way. I think that's the balance I've had a lot of trouble with lately myself. It's because at the moment I'm working full time, doing like 50-60 hour weeks.
Oh my gosh.
So finding time to kind of do anything, I'm kind of limited to my days off, but I also have my wife and kids who I need to spend time with, so it becomes this.
Yeah.
I was going from like, because during the pandemic it was great, I was like, I was on lockdown, so I got to chill out and just like play games and stream nearly every night and hang out. It was great. And then I kind of reality kicked back in. I'm like, oh, I need to get back to working my real job now. And
oh gosh.
I have like significantly less time for this. Like I think the last couple of weeks I've probably streamed like 3 times, because I've just been so tired and exhausted all the time But
Yeah.
it's a hard, like, the work life balance is also very tricky. Like, it's how much like, you can be passionate about it, and you want to put all your effort into it, but you also need to kind of take into factors like, everything else, like relationships and family, and having time for yourself too, mentally, just to chill out and do nothing and just like be blank for a couple of hours is also something that's really, really good for you, I find. Anyway.
Yeah. It really is. And I mean, 50 to 60 hours, that in itself is, you need to take a break in between that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a glutton for punishment. I don't like. I have this running theory that I don't allow myself to stop, because when I stop is when my body kind of goes, you know what, you're having a break. We're just gonna let everything go, and you're gonna get sick, and this is gonna happen. So I'm like, I can't stop. I got to keep going because I can't afford to get sick.
Yeah,
I've got shit to do.
Yeah.
I took 2 weeks holidays in January, or like early January, and it's the first time off, like paid time off that I've had in like 10 years.
My gosh.
Like I've had
That's a
time
long
off
time.
where it's forced time off, where it's like, all right, you've got like 3 days over Christmas, you get that off, that's cool. This is the first time I'd taken like a proper holiday in so long, and I fell apart. My whole body just went nup. You're done.
Oh wow, God. Yeah, no, I can't.
Most of it
I can't
coughing
do
and
that.
wheezing. It was great.
Oh.
I got sick. I was like, that was fine.
Oh,
Which is also
dear.
great. Getting sick in a pandemic is terrifying, especially like it was just as the Brisbane UK virus breakout
Oh
happened. And
no,
I was
that's
like,
right.
Oh no, have I got the Rona? Is this it? Am I done? That was a whole heap of fun.
Oh God, I can't imagine what that must have been like. Gosh, that's pretty scary.
It's it was nerve-wracking for a few hours, and then you kind of try and put logic and reasoning to it, and that never works. And then you're just anxious while you wait for 2 days to get your test, and he's like, I'm still living with my kids and stuff. I'm like, fuck, all right, how am I gonna try and social distance while living in the same house as them, which was hell.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's like, hi kids, I can't cuddle you, hi, bye. It was a
Oh.
little bit heartbreaking.
Oh. Well, I mean, I presume you're all good and that you're feeling
I'm
better.
fine. I tested negative. I tend to only get sick intensely for about 4 days, and I was fine,
Right.
on the mend.
Okay.
And so I'm good
Good.
now. But yeah, it's nice to be healthy. It's because I'm back at work. That's the thing. I'm back at work, so I'm healthy now. I have this weird affliction where if I'm in pain, it instantly disappears when I'm at work. It's like this weird mentality I have, and I just stop feeling anything, and I can just power through it, and then I get off and finish work, and I'm like, ugh, pain again. It's like I shut off. It's the weirdest thing.
Can't take time off then.
No, I can't take time off. It's impossible. Once every 10 years is enough. I'm so done. I'm going back to work.
Oh God, I don't envy you at all. I'm
I don't
sorry.
envy me either. It's fine. I mean, I don't exactly. I mean, I do envy you a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, but that's mostly because you get to do so much cool stuff, and I mean, your job as well kind of ties into with what you do, kind of as well, which is nice. It's kind of, there's a direct connection there.
Yes, but then you kind of forget why you loved what you loved in the first place.
Yeah.
Here's my pro tip for everyone. Just don't work in the area that you really, really are passionate about, because you'll come to find out that things don't go the way you think it does behind the scenes, and your rose-colored glasses come off.
Oh yes, the romanticization
Yep.
of your favorite thing is just shattered and ruined. I'm watching that with an apprentice at the moment. He came in all bright-eyed
really?
and bushy tails. I'm gonna come up with all these specials. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be really creative. And I'm like, no man, that's not what this is about. It's just repetitive, same stuff every day, getting it right, consistency, and just watching that. Like, he still loves what he does, I think. But watching the glasses come off it's an interesting moment on someone else, not just yourself as well.
Uh-huh.
It's
I haven't seen it on anyone else. Touch wood.
touch wood. I hope you don't. It's not painful to watch, but it kind of is at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, that's really life.
Yeah, it's just nothing's as it seems at any time.
Yeah, it's like social media as well, you know. You only ever see the good stuff.
Yeah, there's always that's an interesting thing about social media too, is there's always something going on in the background that no one will ever know, or some people may, but there's always just like you're only being shown what you want to see, and the information that you're seeing is great or happy, or it's what like how perception, like how they want you to perceive it. But then there's always either another side or something they don't want you to see, or they don't want to show.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's like what I was saying earlier, you know. I mean, behind all the content that I make, there's blood, sweat, and tears.
Exactly. They I mean, a lot of people see, you know, your phenomenal success and say, oh, you know, she's doing great, but you know, behind the scenes, you're having a hard time because there's a lot of work involved doing everything you've been doing.
I mean, yeah, you know, I mean, it's helped now this year because I finally, after a long time, have a place on my own. But before, I was living with my parents. I was living, you know, with other people. It was just hard to create content. You have like maybe a standard double bedroom and that's it. So, you know, you never know what someone's going through. I mean, when you look at their content, you're like, wow, they get all these cool gifts and things. It's great, but really behind the scenes, like you really need to look at what effort are they putting in to get those things. It's not as simple as someone just goes, "Oh, I'm going to give them a console for free."
Yeah, it's a hi Xbox. I would like free stuff. Please send now. Thanks. Okay, bye.
Yeah,
That's not
exactly.
how that works.
And you know, I mean, like with my Xbox stuff, everything I've done has been all, you know, my own money spent on products, my own hard work and things like that for years. And only now am I getting things. Prior to that, everything that I've shown off, I've just paid for by myself because I love it so much.
Exactly. I think it's as long as I've known you, you've always been like very much an Xbox fan, and like hearing interestingly that you started on a PlayStation is kind of wild, because I'm like, surely she just started on an Xbox and it all went from there.
Oh, you know what? It started on a PlayStation because, like I said, I didn't dabble in the online multiplayer world. But my discovery of the online multiplayer world was because of Xbox. And till today, I will maintain that the reason I'm a big fan of Xbox is not because of their console or their games or anything like that, which I love, don't get me wrong, but it's because of their community. Their community is why I do what I do and why I continue to do what I do. Because there's like, I don't think you can ever find a community quite like the Xbox community. PlayStation gamers are great. I'm not saying, you know, they don't have their own amazing community, but
we're not here to start fake console wars. Everyone just
no,
calm
no,
down,
no.
put the pitchforks away.
Oh, you know, I'm not talking about consoles. I'm totally gonna say this with a disclaimer. I'm totally for every single console. I think everyone's console is amazing. In fact, the PS5 is a little bit better than the Xbox Series X.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I haven't got either yet, so I can't speak on it.
I don't have an X. I don't have an X, but I have the Xbox Series S, and but you know, Tom has the X, and barely touched it, to be very honest. So that's saying something.
That's the weird thing with this, especially this generation of consoles. I think I've found as well, as I haven't found anything that's really drawn me to buy one of the newer ones. Like, I know a lot of people were excited for Demon's Souls on PlayStation. Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is one I was very excited for, ended up coming out on PS4 as well. So I grabbed it there because I already had a PlayStation 4. Yeah. And with Xbox's new philosophy of just play wherever the hell you want, I didn't, like, because I've got a nice PC, I didn't feel the need to go and get the newer console because I still have an older Xbox that works perfectly fine. Yeah, I'm sure I'll upgrade at some point, but it was an interesting generation for me, because last generation I thought, I want to get this because it's going to have this game and stuff, and this time around it hasn't been so much about that at all.
No, it's really interesting to try and figure out what these, game developers and the hardware developers are thinking because like you said, you're absolutely right. When it comes to Xbox, especially with Game Pass being both on console and PC, you really don't need an Xbox console nowadays.
I mean, you can play Game Pass on your phone now. So I mean, you don't
Exactly.
even need any kind of console. You just need a controller, and you're good. I mean, you don't even need a controller. There are games on there. I've played a couple. Hellblade was one of them where you can use your phone to control it. You don't need the controller. It's got touchpad controls, and I think it's only for a handful of games. I think Gears 5 might be another one. Oh no, Gears Tactics.
Yeah.
Might be another one. So yeah, they've really made it very, very accessible. And again, I think it's leading back to what you were saying before about them really kind of leaning into that community vibe and getting everyone playing together, which makes that experience so unique.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that has been, I guess, their philosophy for a long time for where, gaming is for everyone. And now they're doing gaming for everyone, everywhere, anytime. So, I mean, think about like when the Switch came out, everyone went nuts for the Switch because it was portable and you can take, your Nintendo Switch everywhere. But here now, you don't need to buy a console for that. You just play on your phone. And the best part is you don't need to add any attachments or accessories. You can just download the Game Pass app and go for it.
You good to go.
Like
exactly.
you're saying,
it was really simple. Like when I booted it up, I was like, okay, I'm sure there'll be like that downloaded thing. It's all right, loading. I'm like, all right, cool. And then it just worked. And then I gonna tell a little secret here. I actually don't have a Bluetooth Xbox controller anymore. I only have the older ones. So I was using my PlayStation 4 controller to play Xbox games on my phone. It was brilliant.
And it worked perfectly.
And I think that's
wow.
It was like the Bluetooth. It was like the controller was just a simple Bluetooth connection, and it just went, okay, cool. There's a gamepad here. We're going to use that. And it works
really
flawlessly.
cool.
So yeah, you don't even need an Xbox controller. If you've got a PlayStation, you are set. And I mean,
wow.
I think at the moment you don't even need Game Pass to play the.
I don't think you do.
No, you don't need Game Pass. You don't need to pay for it. It's all the games on there are free as such as part of like working towards the beta, which is really fucking cool.
It really is. It really, really opens up for more gamers to play games. And, you don't have to be a dedicated hardcore gamer as well. You can just be like, I'm bored. I'm sitting on the tram every day or the train every day. Just need to do something. I'm going to just play a game on my phone.
And that's where I'm at. Like, I'm like, because I commute on trains about half an hour ride in, and it's like, it's perfect. I can knock out a level in a game or just play something quietly. It's really, really good. And you can play, I'm pretty sure you can play music over the top of it as well. So you can have your own music going plus the game music, or you can just deaden it off and just do whatever you want.
Yeah, especially I think is that Xbox Game Pass did a promotion with Spotify as well. So you kind of get a lot of benefits with these kinds of things where, you've got Discord integration, you've got Spotify, you've got all sorts. So gaming's changing. It's just going to get better and better.
It's exciting to see where it's going. I mean, I think we'll probably see another generation of consoles. I think we'll always see consoles at some degree, but I think what's going to be interesting now is what's happening in the online game sharing kind of space where Xbox is kind of leading the charge now. It's going to be interesting when kind of Sony and Nintendo get behind that as well, and maybe we'll see a point where it just becomes much like what Project X is now. xCloud is now, where it's just an app. And so, all right, you pay a service for this app and you get all these games. So you have a PlayStation 1, and it doesn't become about the console. It becomes more about the platform and the accessibility. Like, I think the first now that we've seen Xbox on everything, I think the next place it'll go is the Switch. Honestly, I think that'd be interesting because they've been working together quite frequently recently, especially like Minecraft and stuff like that, where they're kind of doing the whole play together thing. I think the next move for them would be getting an app on the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, just getting Xbox Game Pass on the Switch as a whole would be a
Exactly,
big
that's what I mean.
move.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
just Game Pass for Switch, and you get in and you can have all the games that are there, because I mean it's already built for phones and it works off like a streaming kind of thing. Once they kind of solidify that technology and make it a lot smoother, because you know Australian internet suffers greatly for. It's terrible. My 5G connection is better than my Wi-Fi connection when it comes to playing on Game Pass on my phone. It's bizarre.
Yeah,
I was
I mean,
getting a bit of stuttering on my Wi-Fi, and I switched it over to like 4G. I'm like, oh, this is great now. We're good. Goodbye data.
well, I mean, the good thing is it's the other way around in New Zealand. You get great Wi-Fi, but you get terrible mobile internet. So, you know, wins and losses.
I'd prefer the Wi-Fi, to be honest, I think. Then again, with everything the way it's going, good phone internet is always handy.
True.
Very
I mean,
true.
to be fair, I am speaking about the future of gaming. I fully am so onto and into, this whole, you know, apps on Switch and things like that and playing everywhere and anywhere. All that's great. But what I'm really, really not looking forward to is I'm not sure if you've seen Black Mirror, the episode where you kind of put like this implant or something on your brain and you kind of become the character in the game.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it. Yeah.
It's so realistic. And I think that's potentially what we're moving into with VR and AR and all those kind of things, where eventually we're going to just have to, you know, sit back, put a little device on our head, and we upload our consciousness into the game somehow, and we become the game.
Oh, God, it's cyberpunk. Where we're heading, we're just going to jack in and play games with our minds. You know what? I'm kind of about it, to be honest. Like, it's terrifying. Really? I mean, it is genuinely terrifying. The fact that someone could have control over you while you were totally out of it. Mm-hmm. But it is such a cool concept and like such a wild idea that I'd have to get behind it, because I would totally beta test it, I think. Because I think that'd be really, really cool and really interesting. Like, it's essentially an out-of-body experience.
That's the thing. You see, I don't trust humanity enough to just leave my body there unconscious.
Oh, neither do I, and that's why it's so terrifying. But I'd want to risk it at least once, you know.
I mean, if I can freeze myself, you know, and cryogenically freeze myself so that I can avoid like an apocalypse or anything like that. Meanwhile, upload my consciousness into a game, play games, that kind of thing. Do whatever it is that I need to do to enjoy my life. And then, you know, after the apocalypse, once things settle down, come back into my body. Great. Sure. Let's do that.
Here's a terrifying concept for you, just now that you've brought that up. So we've all heard of one more game syndrome, right? Where it's always one more game. Yeah. What if you lose track of time? And it's like one more game for like 80 years. And you wake up, you come out of the game, and you're old and decrepit. You're just like, what the hell just happened? Where am I?
Honestly, the way a lot of people play games these days, I wouldn't be surprised.
Exactly right. It's just imagine just like playing a game and like coming, because there's no concept of time. And you can see that totally happening. People like putting it in so you couldn't tell how long you've been in there, so you're playing the games longer, and then you just wake up and you're like old and you can't move. It'd be.
I feel like this is supposed to be like maybe this is like a sad Pixar story that might end up being.
Oh my god, we should totally pitch this. Wake up 40 years later and just like trying to put your life back together. I think yes. Let's do it. Like, I'm gonna get that one written down right now.
Go for it. And then I can market it. You know.
Exactly, perfect. We're on to a winner. I'll just call my friends at Pixar now, and just as soon as we finish recording, like, look, guys, I have this idea.
Oh well, I mean, you know, looking at Disney Plus and the amount of content they're trying to put on there, I'm sure it's an easy sell.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just say, look, guys, we'll put it in the we'll put it in the Star Wars universe. It'll be fine. And it'll sell like hotcakes. It'll be brilliant.
I mean, you could always just make it a Mandalorian game and just do that as the one more game.
Exactly, right? Perfect.
Plus, as a Mandalorian, you don't take off your helmet, so you wouldn't know that you've aged like 80 plus years.
Oh my god, the immersion, it's too real. You can't know. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, dear.
Futuristic technology, look at what you're making us think.
It's beautiful and terrifying all at the same time.
Yep, indeed.
So speaking of games, I like to round out these episodes, so kind of towards the end-ish. I like to talk about some deals that are going on in the gaming space. So I'll read them out and what's going on, and then if you have any opinions, just just swing on in there and let me know what you think and recommend games and stuff. Sound a good plan? Good. All right. So over on PlayStation Plus this week, your freebies for the month, as they were last week, are Greedfall and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. You also have your PS5 free game, which you can pick up online. You do not have to have a PlayStation 5. You can just go online and collect it in this PlayStation Store via your browser, and it'll be there ready for you when you get a PS5, is Maneater. Played any of these ones? I mean, I know you're a Tomb Raider fan.
I love
as am I.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It's so good. I highly recommend it. It just continues on the brilliance of the reboot, which I think they did such a good job with it.
They
Shadow
really
of the
did,
Tomb Raider. They did. I mean, I would not have expected it to be that good, and to continue to be that good.
Yeah, the first one was, oh, right, this is good. I can see where this is going. Like, all right, we've got 2 more to come out. And they were really, really good. Like, they kept building on that. And the character arc with Laura in there especially was fantastic. It was like the only thing that caught me out with that is she went from like shy and timid and quiet to murdering everyone in about 5 minutes. But we can let that go for the sake of gaming, right?
I mean, if you got shipwrecked and stuck on an island by yourself with people potentially conspiring against you, surely you'd go on a murdering rampage as well.
You'd probably want to get a little. There'd be some violent tendencies in there somewhere, right?
Plus, I mean, let's face it, I don't know. I mean, based on my history of Tomb Raider, there's some issues with Lara Croft there.
Yeah, she's got some parental damage there, which probably doesn't help a little bit. A few daddy issues that kind of subside through the entire game.
There's that, and then having Angelina Jolie plus what's her name, the new chick who plays her in the reboot movies. I can't remember.
She did a great job because we can't remember her name.
Exactly. I was gonna say, like, I mean, surely I as a character would just go on a rampage myself, being like, oh my god, you cannot find anyone better to play me.
Exactly, right? Terrible. Over in the PlayStation Store this week, we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey for $24. Which
Odyssey is good.
It is really good. I have a history with this game, and it's what terrifies me about Valhalla and why I haven't finished it yet. I ended up putting like 160 hours into Odyssey, and I'm still not done.
Oh my goodness!
I have half of one of the DLCs left. And I mean, I've done a lot of side content because some of the side missions are fantastic. It's really well written. But it is a big game. I mean, most of that you spend traveling. I'm not gonna lie, huge map. But for $24, definitely an easy buy, especially if you're looking for something to do during the quiet times. Very, very good game. Really well done.
100%. And it's a really good precursor to Valhalla as well, if you're looking to pick up Valhalla eventually as well.
Yeah, if you have the time, if you ever finish Odyssey before Valhalla, you may be playing it eternally and wake up 80 years later.
Who knows? Who knows? We might go back in time and end up in the, Greek civilization again. Who knows?
Maybe. It's possible. Over on Xbox this week, my Game Pass pick of the week, which is new games coming to the service over this week, or have just arrived, is What Remains of Edith Finch.
I've not played that game actually, but I've heard good things.
It is incredible. Really, it's a story-driven kind of point-and-click style game where you kind of wander
Oh
around
yeah.
and explore a house. But the way the story is told is so unique and so beautiful. It's one that we heavily recommend here on the cast quite often when it comes up, especially on sale. But now it's on Game Pass, you should definitely go and play it. It's a very short game. I think it only takes about 6 hours to finish.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay.
but very much worth your time. So if you're looking for a quick, easy game or a break from large games like Odyssey, fantastic game to pick up and just walk through this world and listen to the story that's been told about this family. It's incredible.
Nice. I should give it a try.
You should. You should let me know how you go with it if you get around to it. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, we'll do.
Over on Games with Gold this week, these are your freebies for they do them like fortnightly. It's kind of bizarre how they do them. They kind of rotate them out. But this week we have Little Nightmares, Dead Rising, and Breakdown. I haven't played any of these, so I'm not sure I have any experience with them whatsoever. I've heard Little Nightmares is pretty good though.
I've not played Little Nightmares, but Dead Rising, I've only played Dead Rising 4, which is just absolutely bonkers. So I can only imagine Dead Rising is just as good.
Yeah,
I mean, I say bonkers in a good way.
It's bonkers in the best possible way, right?
Exactly.
I think this is like, because what Xbox tend to do, I've noticed for this, is they have like two newer games on there, and then they have like an Xbox 360 game, and this is that one this time around. I think Breakdown is as well, actually. But yeah, so you can always kind of pick up a cheeky classic there with Games with Gold, which is always fun.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% recommend make sure you pick it up, because with Game Pass you can't always keep the game because games leave the service.
Games with Gold, you get to keep them. It's brilliant. I love the free games. PlayStation do some killer games as well, which is always good. They have some great ones come up. Xbox has some pretty good ones, interesting ones come up. They always have like weird ones there, which are always fun. It's like, this is a weird game and I want to check it out. It kind of piques your interest a little bit. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So over on Deals with Gold, we have Star Wars Squadrons, and I think from memory it was 35. I forgot to write down the price because I'm truly professional. But I love this game. Have you tried it at all?
No, I was really keen to, but then obviously I think it came out around the time where we did another massive sale, like a site-wide sale, and then soon after another game came out, and I think it was just before Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs and things came out. So I was like, I'll just wait and dive into Valhalla, which I haven't finished yet.
I have a feeling I have a feeling with Star Wars it might come to Game Pass at some point, especially now that the EA is it the Vault or something they have where they put their older games on there is now part of Game Pass as well.
I think that's the case. I mean, it's EA Play sort of games. Yeah, so I'm not sure how soon Squadrons will be up. I mean, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order came out in 2019, and now it's on Game Pass. So maybe a year.
Maybe a year or so. Because it was a fun game. I really had a good time with it. The multiplayer is a lot of fun. It's hard to find games now though because they're not supporting it post launch, which kind of sucks.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it is. It's such a well done game though. It's fantastic. Speaking of well done games, over on the Switch this week, Ori and the Will of the Wisps for $25.50.
Oh wow,
not
bad.
Yeah, fantastic game, and it's a perfect game for the Switch too. Right, it's the kind of pick up and play, and like you don't have to commit a lot of time to it. You can just go exploring if you want to.
A beautiful soundtrack as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Over on the Epic Store this week, their freebie that they give out weekly, which has only got today about 24 hours left. I'm getting this week in a little late. There was some small scheduling issues which we've got around, but so if you're hearing this as it comes out, you may have about a day to grab it. Is Star Wars Battlefront 2 Celebration Edition, which has been, I've heard good things. I've got it downloaded. I haven't played it yet though.
I don't think I ever did, to be honest. Oh wow. See what I mean? I just talk about games. I don't play a lot of them.
Exactly. That's talking at a shop is what we do best here. It's
Yeah.
I mean, I sit here and tell you guys, you got to play this game. You got to play this game, and I'm like, no, I haven't played this game yet. I'm terrible for it.
Oh, I do the same.
I think there was one. I was like, guys, this is a must download, and I never downloaded it myself. I was like, damn it, why am I like this?
Yeah, I'm very much like that as well.
Yeah. Well,
it's the anticipation of a brilliant game more so than playing the brilliant game.
Exactly. You want to be hyped about it, then you get around to playing. I don't have time to play about it now. I just want to keep being hyped about it because if you go in there and your expectations are ruined, it's ruined the game for you. So you're just like, well, I'm just gonna leave it in this happy hype zone place that I have, and it can live there fondly in my memory, even though I've never played it.
And that's how game developers make the extra cash.
Exactly. Let's buy this game. Yes, I'll buy this game, and I'll never play it, but I'll love it.
That's what I've done with
Cyberpunk. I can't get myself out. I had to pull myself out of Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah.
I've had a really, really, really good time with it. I mean, it's still buggy and there's some issues. I won't deny that, but I've had so much fun with the story and the characters that they've got in there. It's so good. Like the world building is fantastic. And I had to like force myself. Like, no, I need to stop playing Cyberpunk for just for a minute and just play something else and come back. Because I've been chasing Doom Eternal for 6 months. I've got to play it. I've got to play it. And I can't talk about Cyberpunk forever. I mean, I can, but I probably shouldn't do that either.
Well, as they say, you'll never finish games when there's more games to come.
Exactly. Speaking of finishing, I think that's about time for tonight. Thank you so much for making the time to come on. I know you've things have been crazy for you at work, and it was kind of hard to work in a time. But it's so good to catch up with you and have a chat. I've been meaning to do it for such a long time.
Oh no, thank you so much for having me. I mean, it's been a crazy time, but just being able to chat with someone about games and someone who's just as passionate about games as I am, it's just super nice and just kind of takes me away from the stresses of daily life. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad I can help. It's the reason I do this. I love getting to know people through games and like just being able to chat, just talk about what we're doing and how we're playing things. It's always interesting to get other perspectives and see how other people grew up with games. It's usually very, very different in every case. So it's always good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll have to ask you questions next time.
Yeah, you'll have to come and interview me. It'll be great. We'll have a good time. We should definitely do this again.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. So for the people listening at home, our beautiful, beautiful listeners, whereabouts on the internet can they find you?
At this point in time, I think Twitter would be the best place to find me. It's literally the only platform that I keep posting content to, just to keep the momentum going. But yes, you can find me on Twitter, maybe on Instagram, as Missdeusgeek. Otherwise, you can find myself and Tom streaming or making weird content on Facebook Gaming as Attack on.
Content is best content.
It's weird. We're weird. We're weird people from New Zealand.
Ah, yes, the people that stole the pavlova. We know you well.
We didn't steal the pavlova.
Listen, I have evidence, all right? I know stories. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll give you that as long as, we're still the number one for curtailing COVID. That we'll own that.
You know what? I will give that to you because you guys did a fantastic job. It was incredible to watch that. Still no cases there for a very long time. We keep having relapses here. It's terrible. So, back in the lockdown again. Here we go.
I don't think I can handle that.
No, it's terrifying. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always with all our guests, make sure you go and follow them and love them. I'll have all the information in the show notes below. If you'd like to get in touch with the cast, you can find us on Twitter @LeftPod. You can also find us now on Instagram. We recently started up an account there because I have no idea what I'm doing on there, and I figured why not? It's a fun adventure. So you can find us there at Two Left Thumbs Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube, where we will put up the video version of these episodes a few days after they are launched via your streaming services. My name is Deaf Puppies. You know where to find me. I'm not important. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. You guys have a fantastic week, and we will talk to you then. Bye.